The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome everyone to this very special presentation of Understanding Data Management and your DCAM framework presented by Sandhill Consultants and EDM Resource Group. I'll just start right with a couple of housekeeping messages. One, this webcast is being recorded. Two, there is the ability for you to ask a question on the right-hand side of the dialog box. So you can ask a question. We can certainly look at those questions at the end. And there is a handout that we'll be talking about at the end as well, and that's under the handouts. You'll see that. So with that, Jeff, if you can go ahead and go to the next screen. So I'd like to thank everyone for logging in. Quick introduction about Sandhill Consultants. Since our founding over 30 years ago, we've built a solid client base in across the US and Canada. And of course, our UK office provides its sales and services to the rest of the globe. The Sandhill Consultants stands at the forefront of data management, innovation, and specializing in data modeling, data cataloging, and data governance. Our focus is to enhance clients' experiences by delivering comprehensive solutions, beginning with the DCAM assessment, which we'll discuss in more detail here. It's also possible to integrate our expertise in data governance with the Irwin Quest developments in modeling and business glossaries and their data dictionaries, as well as their data intelligence solutions. By integrating our unique insights and offerings, coupled with what the EDM Council has provided and our other partners, we offer a holistic approach to data management and the challenges that face our clients' daily lives. So you can discover how our solutions can transform your data management strategy at sandhillconsultants.com. So Jeff, if you can go to the next slide.
Yeah, Robert, I just want to bring to your attention that I still have a dialogue on my screen that says start broadcast. I want to make sure that that is actually working, and I close this.
You are working. We are live.
Okay.
And session says it's being recorded, so it's all good. With it today, I want to just make sure that I introduce two wonderful people, wonderful speakers for today's lineup. So first, Jeff, we'll start with you as you're the man on the controls there. Jeff, I know that you've been in the past with the state of Arizona data management, where you were there for the past 12 years. You have conducted several full data management capability assessments for 3 Arizona states, and you provided data management consulting services through your EDM resource group, and you're also an EDM partner, council partner like Sandhill. So welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Robert. Pleasure to be here and looking forward to this exciting seminar.
Us too. And our second speaker is E-Marie. E-Marie is a senior data governance practice lead at Sandhill Consultants and has been an amazing partner and co-architect of the Sandhill Data Governance Capability Delivery System called Compass. E-Marie has conducted several data management maturity assessments in the US and UK and focuses on data governance frameworks, processes, standards, and stakeholder engagement. Welcome, E-Marie. E-Marie, you may be on mute, just an FYI. And you're still on mute, E-Marie. Do you want to say hello? There you go.
Hello, I apologize for being on mute. Hi, I am delighted to be here. Thank you, Robert.
Pleasure's all ours. So, Jeff, I'm going to hand it over to you, and I think you're going to start with the agenda.
All right, thank you very much, and welcome everyone. So today we're going to be talking about why we use a framework and what a framework is as we run down the yellow brick road towards DCAM Nirvana. We're going to talk about the EDM Council, an overview of the DCAM framework. We're going to go through our assessment methodology. We're going to look at a few actual case studies of enterprises that have done assessments in the past, and we'll discuss next steps and leave some time at the end for Q&A. So let's just dive right into it. So first of all, I'm a strong proponent of building a data management program around a framework. A recognized framework ensures that everyone involved is on the same page, speaks the same language, understands a common set of concepts, and measures them the same way without reinventing the wheel. A strong framework gives your program credibility, which leads to organization-wide buy-in and adoption. In Arizona, we also used a framework to structure our policies. The top data management frameworks today are the Data Management Body of Knowledge, which is affectionately called the DMBOK, and the Data Management Capabilities Assessment Model, DCAM, which we'll be discussing today. Marie, please give us an overview of the DCAM and the EDM Council.
You too, Jeff. A DCAM assessment provides a structured evaluation of your current data management and analytics capabilities. It results in a score for each of the key capability areas. Beginning in the center ring of the diagram and moving outward, I'll just walk through these quickly. In the center in gray, we find the foundational capabilities of data strategy and business case and data management program and funding. In the next ring out, the orange, business and data architecture, data and technology architecture, data quality management, and data governance are the execution capabilities. Then the data control environment as collaboration, and finally, analytics management is the application of all of these capabilities. All are required to deliver the optimal business value. The collaborative workshops and scoring initiative involves the stakeholders across the organization to ensure consensus and alignment and enable a shared vision. This drives best practices and is based on defined metrics. The process identifies your strengths and areas for improvement, providing a comprehensive gap analysis and list of priorities agreed collaboratively on how to grow your organization's data management capability. Altogether, this accelerates achieving a robust data management practice, enabling you to leapfrog the snail's pace of incremental improvement. Next slide, please. So this is an example of how you get a clear view of your data landscape. The DCAM was developed by the Enterprise Data Management Council, or the EDMC, which was established to advocate best practices, training, and standards in an industry-neutral forum. It is founded on the 3 principles shown here: fostering data literacy, collaboration, and today, the EDM Council is the leading nonprofit cross-industry data management and analytics trade association with 15,000 professionals. The Council supports 4 business ontologies and includes Cloud Data Management Capability Framework and key controls. It has wide adoption across multiple industries and wide industry engagement. The next slide. This is an example of the EDM Council members. As of now, there are over 380 firms, and Warner Brothers joined most recently. From public and private sector, small and large organizations. Oh, I'm back one.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Still just looking at the breadth and depth of this group. So from small and large enterprises, we see also education, financial services, telecommunications, pharmaceutical, and even a large law firm from the UK. Next slide, please. And this is a sampling of the government members, including several entities in Canada. Shout out to Arizona, where Jeff Walcove was actually the acting chief data officer there for a number of years. So we see Canada, Canadian forces, and members of the US Armed Services. Next slide. The Council's EDM Connect is a wide-ranging resource and supportive ecosystem including training, collaboration, and engagement, and including vital special interest groups. And I believe, Robert, now we have a poll for the audience.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff, for bringing up the poll. So we wanted to just get some feedback from our audience of what the top three data issues that you're seeing. Unfortunately, the system only allows us to put 5 there. I think we had actually probably about 10 that we started with. So, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch the poll, and let's see. So you should be able to see that poll. If you can just click, you should be able to click more than one on that poll. I'll just give you a minute. Obviously, you know, where to start your data management, the organization, data literacy, culture and ethics, data quality, implementing artificial intelligence model, and no single source of the truth. So I'm just kind of making sure. Yeah, I see some people making their selections. You can punch in your options now. We'll give you another couple of seconds there. Thank you for making the selection there. I think that everyone's got ahead. I see it's. I still see some final numbers changing here. It does seem to be there is a certain leader. We'll see that when people when we show the poll. So definitely going to give you just another second or two, because some people do seem to be changing their minds. I think they're messing with us, Jeff and Marie. But let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and close that poll, because the numbers seem to have settled down now. So I'm going to close this poll, and then I'm going to share the results of this poll. So and clearly, you know, data quality seems to be the top issue, Jeff, with, you know, no single source of the truth. Running in second, and a close third is where to actually start your data management program. And rounding out joint fourth and fifth is the data literacy and implementing artificial intelligence. So Jeff and Marie, any thoughts before I go ahead and hand this and turn it back to you?
Well, interesting results. Data quality, as expected, is always a key driver of folks wanting to implement a data management program and do an assessment. Single source of the truth is also a big problem for a lot of organizations, where they have a single, they have duplicates and are unable to rationalize their master data. Good news is that the DCAM addresses every one of these areas in one manner or another, and we can measure all these and help you work through them.
Excellent. So let me go ahead and hitting that poll now. That's our only poll for the session. So Jeff, it's back to you.
All right, let's go to a little bit of a deeper dive into the DCAM structure and what we're going to be assessing on. So the DCAM is currently in its second version, and version 3 is well on its way to completion and is expected to be released later this year. As Marie mentioned, the DCAM is technology agnostic. We don't push you towards this database or that data governance tool. We don't usually even name any of these products during an assessment. It was also developed to be industry agnostic as well, and applies whether you're in government, financial, service, manufacturing, or just about any other industry. Data is data, regardless of your industry. The 8 high-level components are broken down into 38 capabilities, and further broken down into 138 sub-capabilities. And when we assess, we're going to be going all the way down to the sub-capability level to see how your process is working. The 8 components in more detail are data management strategy and business case, which forms the foundation of the framework. It defines how data management is organized, funded, and governed, and includes the capabilities to ensure that data management aligns with your business strategy and objectives, provides a clear rationale and business case for managing data as a business asset, and by establishing a vision, setting performance metrics, and securing executive buy-in. The data management program and funding model component focuses on creating a sustainable organizational data management structure. It includes establishing the Office of Data Management, defining roles and responsibilities, and securing sustainable funding. The business and data architecture component ensures that data architecture aligns with business processes and requirements. It involves defining data models, taxonomies, and ontologies to ensure that data is consistently defined and used across the organization. The data and technology architecture component aligns those architectural requirements of business, data, and technology to support desired business outcomes. And it includes defining the technology infrastructure, tools, and platforms that you need for your effective data management. The data quality management component is what we found in our poll. Data quality is a big deal to many companies and many organizations. And we've devoted an entire set of capabilities to it. It focuses on ensuring that your data is fit for purpose. It includes processes for data profiling, measurement, defect management, and remediation. These capabilities establish data quality metrics and reporting routines, integrating data quality management into the overall data governance framework. The data governance component is the backbone of a successful data management initiative. It involves setting standards, defining rules, establishing policies, implementing oversight, and ensuring adherence to data management best practices. The data control environment component ensures that data is managed holistically throughout its life cycle. It involves coordinating people, processes, and technology to create a cohesive operational data management model. And it integrates data management with your other organizational control functions, such as information security and privacy, change management, and so on, to ensure data is properly managed across all those business functions. And finally, analytics management formalizes how analytics activities are structured, executed, managed within an organization. It ensures that analytics are aligned with data management and business priorities and gives you the framework for developing, testing, and deploying analytical models. Each component that we've just mentioned is broken down into high-level capabilities and detailed sub-capabilities. In this data governance example, there are 6 capabilities. The data management program is governed, a capability, for example, is broken down into 4 sub-capabilities. And each of those sub-capabilities has multiple objectives. The sample artifacts represent documentation that demonstrates that your enterprise is actually carrying out the processes and meeting those objectives. Getting into it a little bit further, the model includes advice, which describes further exactly how you implement each segment. Questions that your organization should be asking itself to determine whether it's meeting these objectives. Artifacts, as I mentioned before, that define whether you're actually carrying out these practices or not. And each section has its own scoring guidance. A lot of effort is devoted to defining the scoring within each sub-capability so that everyone is measuring things exactly the same way. Getting a little bit deeper into the scoring, the DCAM model uses 6 score levels. Not initiated is level 1, so you never get a 0, which is really good news for people that are really afraid of getting zeros. But you actually start at 1. The practice is not performed. It's all ad hoc activities, usually performed by heroics. Second stage is conceptual, where you've started some initial planning, you're debating, you're doing whiteboard sessions, you're thinking about it. Developmental score level 3 is you've begun to engage with key stakeholders. Some work streams and work groups are underway. Participation is growing. You've started to develop or looking at developing policies. Level 4 is defined, where the business users are actively doing the various business processes. Line of business management with P&L responsibility are engaged, and those requirements have been verified and are on their way to being approved. Responsibilities have been defined. Policies and standards exist. And then we go to level 5, which is the key level. This is the target level that we want everyone to aim for, which is achieved. At the level 5, your executive management has sanctioned all the activities. They've approved all the policies. You have responsibilities that are coordinated. You have communication taking place across the organization. Policies and standards are implemented. Adherence is being verified, and so on. And level 6, enhanced, is where you've not only incorporated all these practices into business as usual and the operational culture of the organization, but you also have implemented continuous improvement of those processes. So everyone's gets scored on a 6-tier scoring mechanism. So let's look at our assessment methodology. In the preparation and planning phase, we do preparatory activities to set the stage for our assessment. We work closely with a designated assessment lead from your organization. We select the workshop participants and then hold a briefing session where we educate them on the overview of the framework. We introduce our work product selection spreadsheet, where we list every sub-capability of the DCAM along with suggested work products that you can collect to demonstrate that your processes are actually in place. Now remember, you're not doing an assessment because your data management capabilities are perfect and 100% documented. We don't expect you to have these documents for everything, but we do want to make sure that if you have them and you're doing the processes, you definitely want to get credit for those and collect all those documents. After the briefing, we allow 2 to 4 weeks for your team to gather and log those work products in a shared folder. And of course, everything you show us is treated as strictly confidential. We don't keep anything. It's all kept in a secure folder, and it'll be deleted after the report is submitted. Next, we conduct structured group workshops where we evaluate the sub-capability statements. Workshops are usually virtual and scheduled on 4 consecutive mornings for all the participants we've identified previously. In the past, we've had from 40 to 70 participants in these workshops. Marie and I will present and explain each of the DCAM capabilities and sub-capabilities with the scoring criteria, lead a discussion with all participants on your implementation of these best practices, and we'll take copious notes and arrive at a consensus score. I can't overstate the value of these workshops. First of all, they're a big eye-opener. Participants share their data issues and wins. They learn what processes have been implemented by other business units in the organization that they can immediately adapt to their department. They not only learn the DCAM model in detail, they also learn how it applies in practice to their business unit and how it impacts the whole organization. We consistently find that our workshops spark keen interest in data management across the organization. Those participants will become your data management champions, and they won't wait for a report to start implementing best practices. These workshops have enormous value just as a training seminar. The next phase consists of interviews, which are done on the afternoons of those 4 workshop days. We interview subject matter experts and business executives. These discussions help us understand the organization's strategy, goals, challenges, and persistent data issues, providing deeper insights into the data management landscape. These interviews are a critical element of the assessment because our report is not simply based on what's in the framework. You're not doing this. You should do this. Start doing this next Tuesday is not the way we do things. No, our recommendations and the roadmap are all made in the context of your business environment, your strategy, challenges and goals, and resolving your persistent data issues, not just you should do this because the model says so. The findings and recommendations are drafted after the workshops and interviews. We compile a full report of capabilities, identifying strengths and gaps. And I'll be going over a detailed table of contents of a sample report in a few minutes. Finally, we present the report to executive sponsors at an executive briefing. The briefing includes a discussion of next steps for implementation, ensuring that leadership is fully informed and ready to support the data management initiative. The overall timeline for all this is a total of about 8 to 12 weeks from the time we initiate until the time we submit the executive briefing. Marie and I will assist you every step of the way. We'll hold weekly status meetings to keep your preparation on track. We're going to set up a secure document repository where you'll upload organization charts, a list of important business terms and acronyms, and your work products. We do prefer to record the workshops so we can refer back to them later while we're drafting the report in case we need to clarify any details. And of course, those recordings will be destroyed when we're done with the report. As you can see from this report, from this timeline, drafting the report takes a considerable amount of time and effort. Every assessment is different. Each has different strategic goals and challenges, and there's very little in the way of boilerplate content. So here's an example report, table of contents from an actual report that we did. We start with an introduction of the enterprise's mission and strategy, followed by an overview of the DCAM assessment model and scoring. We do an assessment, a summary of the assessment results, which includes a global data management benchmark comparison and a description of the organizational themes affecting data management capabilities, and those are derived from those interviews that I talked about. The data management assessment overview, we detail our methodology, strengths, and gaps identified during the assessment. And here we go on to provide actionable recommendations, including quick wins and key projects to build your data management capabilities. In this study, we gave detailed descriptions, goals, and plans for 10 projects, including a 3-year timeline. As you can see from this example, we devoted more than 30 pages to this section alone.
Sorry,
So,
Jeff, just confirming you're on still on the sample report contents, yeah? Second part?
yeah, second page.
Cool.
And we added a section to outline the capabilities must be in place to position this particular organization for an upcoming modernization RFP. And in the detailed assessment findings and recommendations section, we devote more than 40 pages to a deep dive on the workshop findings and recommendations. And that's where we take all those copious notes that I talked about, put them into a report form, and describe any recommendations we have to improve your data management practices and bring them to the next level. So 124 pages in this particular report. It's a substantial body of work. And we find that that clients who have performed these assessments are still using these reports 3, 4, and 5 years later. This is the implementation timeline for the 10 projects in that particular report, and it goes from 2023 up through 2026. We want to make sure that these projects are done in the right sequence, that they build upon each other, that we have our dependencies lined up in the correct sequence so that they all follow each other in sequence. This sample radar chart helps visualize where the organization is situated. As I mentioned, you can see the heavy green line there as your level 5. That's the target for your achieved score of 5 in those sub-capabilities. As you can see, this organization has robust data reporting and analytics capabilities here in the 8 and 8.5 scores. The lower scores represent less robust capabilities, and our assessment methodology not only helps to identify these, but also exposes whether they pose a risk to your enterprise and allows you to prioritize which areas you want to focus on. Let's look at a couple of case studies to illustrate the impact of a comprehensive DCAM assessment. The first one, before the assessment, this organization was facing enterprise-wide data quality issues. They had grouped similar issues into buckets, which they had started to call buckets of stuff. They realized they needed a more sophisticated approach and more sophisticated terminology than buckets of stuff. They knew they had something going on, but they weren't sure exactly what it was. And their needs were made even more acute because they were planning a multi-million-dollar modernization project. So we conducted an assessment involving 45 workshop participants. And from this, we generated 42 recommendations and identified 8 projects to be executed over a span of 3 years. Additionally, we pinpointed multiple quick wins that could be implemented immediately. The quick wins are the low-hanging fruit. It could be something as simple as a document that's been drafted but not approved. You get it approved and you get another bump in your score. Those are considered quick wins. After the assessment, the results were transformative. The organization established an enterprise data management office headed by a chief data officer. The data management strategy was approved, and the data management group became deeply involved in the upgrade project. This led to the resolution of the data quality problems and a significant reduction in risk. And furthermore, 45 very eager new data champions emerged within the agency. They independently implemented biweekly meetings to keep their program on track, and continuously self-assessed scores were updated quarterly and communicated across the organization. So this was an extremely successful data management assessment. The next one is a little bit different. The outcome is a little bit different. This enterprise was already working on a major system upgrade, but faced significant data management problems. For example, their legacy application could not support current business processes, so they had to extract data sets and do the calculations in Excel. Real nightmare. We conducted an assessment with 52 workshop participants, resulting in over 40 recommendations and identifying 10 projects to be executed over 3 years. Similar to the previous case, we also identified a lot of quick wins. Unfortunately, management decided that the project team was too busy with the ongoing project and did not devote adequate resources to implement the recommendations. The upgrade project, unfortunately, was delivered 2 years late and several $1 million over budget. Moreover, the new system failed to collect data for mission-critical reporting requirements, and numerous processes continued to be performed with external spreadsheets. The major issue here was that the project sponsors decided to tackle data management much too late in the process. Capabilities such as governance, data catalogs, business glossaries, and data requirements must be in place very early in the project lifecycle. In your assessment, you'll learn to push back on assertions from your project team that data governance is nice to have. And we can work on reporting in phase 2. If you don't specify what data you need before phase 1, it won't magically appear in phase 2, assuming there is a phase 2. Unfortunately, this organization fell into that category and started the project too late, the process too late. In case study number 3, this enterprise was also planning a major system upgrade, but faced several issues. No data catalog, lineage or definition of legacy data. They had data quality issues. As you can see from even from our poll, data quality is a persistent issue across many organizations. And there was no enterprise-wide data management strategy or architecture approach. They had siloed data. In this case, they did not perform an assessment. And the lack of their structured data management approach led to several problems. For example, reporting and analytics were performed from 4 different data stores. They had a legacy and a new production system, and they had a legacy and a new data warehouse that they used for reporting, making reconciliation difficult. And the team was not aligned on basic business terminology or data management concepts. They had a misconception, which we'll talk about a little bit later, that the vendor manages our data because this was a cloud-based application, which is not the case. And the enterprise still lacked an enterprise-wide data architecture approach, resulting in multiple data silos that didn't interoperate. And once again, the time to implement your data management program is before you undertake a major project. If you try to implement it during a project, it will almost always be seen as out of scope and a threat to the project timeline. Let's talk about the cloud data management capabilities model for a moment. The CDMC, as Emery mentioned earlier, is another product from the EDM Council. It's a comprehensive model designed to help organizations manage and control data in cloud environments. It was developed in response to a recognized need to govern data in SaaS and other cloud platforms. Over 100 companies collaborated to develop this framework, including Amazon Web Services, Google, IBM, Microsoft, major banks such as Citibank, Credit Suisse, and Deutsche Bank, and technology providers including Calibra, Informatica, and Snowflake. CDMC helps you identify the specific capabilities you need to have in place to manage your enterprise's data in the cloud. Cloud service providers who have adopted CDMC on their platforms can display the equivalent of a good housekeeping seal of approval. And many of the companies that I mentioned earlier that were involved in this process have been CDMC accredited. The framework is organized into 6 key capability areas, and these are governance and accountability, cataloging and classification, accessibility and usage, protection and privacy, data lifecycle, data and technical architecture. The CDMC's 14 capabilities are represented here in the CDMC 14 key controls. Excuse me. These are considered the minimum controls necessary to ensure data integrity, security, and compliance in cloud environments. I won't read the whole thing, but I'll give you a few examples. Data ownership ensures accountability and decision authority is clearly defined and recorded, and asserts that your enterprise owns the data, even if it's stored in a vendor system. Authoritative data sources. What is your vendor's process for updating critical reference data? How does this impact operations? Data sovereignty. Is your data stored in your country? Data classification identifies sensitive data. If there's a breach, what was breached? What are the impacts? Data retention. Does your cloud solution allow you to manage data retention, archiving, and purging according to regulations? Data quality. Does the solution give you the tools to measure and report on data quality, perform profiling, and allow data cleansing such as merging duplicates. And cost metrics are directly associated with data use, storage, and movement of data across the network. Those cost metrics must be available and provide you with a means of managing the cost. Those costs can add up, especially storage costs on some of these SaaS applications. Companies end up with unpleasant surprises where they're not managing them. We can provide an add-on assessment of these 14 key controls as part of your DCAM assessment. A recent one that we did just took about 90 minutes in a workshop, and we don't need the entire group of participants in that workshop. We mainly need just the technical subject matter experts for that. Let's look at some of the key drivers of DCAM assessments. The first is, as we saw again in our poll, persistent data issues. Your organization may face challenges with data quality. Excuse me. Bad data causes inaccurate, inconsistent, unreliable reports and bad decisions. Where business processes are triggered by bad data, we see costly business process failures. If you're migrating bad data to a new platform, the platform will inherit those same problems. An assessment can show you how to create a sustainable data quality strategy. Enterprise data management is imperative for successful AI projects. Now, AI was not high on the list of things that were concerning folks in our poll, which is interesting, but AI is definitely on a lot of people's minds these days. According to CDO magazine, which recently published a poll on this, excuse me, 61% of chief data officers emphasize the need for robust data governance and policies. 50% require modern data platforms to support AI. 42% are looking for data integration and harmonization to ensure seamless data flow. 45% identify data quality again as a major barrier to AI success. 86%, which is huge, 86% believe that data silos obstruct effective AI implementation. That's your data architecture. Additionally, there are concerns about ethics, model bias, and explainability in AI projects, all of which are addressed and measured by the DCAM. Modernization projects are a huge driver of DCAM assessments. As we saw in the case studies, your organization needs a robust data management program in place before embarking on a major modernization effort. Data management must have a strategic role, and that role should be defined, acknowledged at the highest levels of your organization, and communicated across the organization before these projects even start. And with that, hopefully Marie and I have given you some food for thought. I hope you found this session useful and look forward to helping you move your enterprise data management efforts forward. Thank you for joining us today. And once again, Robert and Marie, thank you for inviting me to join your webinar today. Robert, please add your thoughts on the next steps those can take to get started.
No, excellent. Jeff, they say knowledge is power. Certainly, during the last 40 minutes, both you and Marie have provided a wealth of information on what a DCAM assessment is and how to leverage a DCAM assessment. So you're right. What we'd like to do is we'd like to invite our audience to turn what they've heard into some insights. And so for those of you that are on the current webinar, if you go to the handout section, you'll notice that we have created a data management health check, a quick 10-question survey to assess your organization's data maturity. And for other organizations that are reviewing this post, this invite, if you would like to get a hold of that survey, you can email info@Sandhill Consultants, We will email you that survey out. You can complete that survey, as we will hope that our attendees are on this call. You can complete that survey and you can send it to us, and we will follow up with a free one-on-one consultation tailored to their needs on that survey. Or if you'd like to go ahead and just jump in and start your DCAM assessment, again, a benchmark roadmap to strengthen data management strategies, you can also just email us directly saying, hey, where do I sign up for this? So with that, I'd like to obviously extend my thanks to Jeff and Marie for the outstanding information. And just before we close out, I did have a couple of questions that had been coming in, and I wondered, Jeff and Marie, if you might be able to help us out with just these questions. If there are additional questions that people want to post in the question area, please feel free to do so. But Jeff, first question that has come in is, where does data ethics fit into the DCAM framework?
Good question. Thank you, Robert, for that question. Data ethics is a cross-cutting concern in the DCAM framework, and it influences multiple domains. It's not a standalone capability, but it's embedded across several components to ensure responsible and trustworthy data use. The DCAM specifically addresses establishing formal data ethics oversight function, such as a governing body and a code of ethics, a data ethics council, or something of that nature, governing the ethical use and access to and use of data, and governing ethical outcomes of analytics, addressing model bias and explainability of models, not only in AI, but all across the spectrum of analytics. The EDM Council also offers a certification in data ethics and responsible AI, which expands greatly beyond what is in the DCAM into all the different structures around and issues around data ethics. The fact that technology really outpaces regulation. We can't wait for regulation to determine what our ethics are. We have to be proactive and do the right thing.
Thanks, Jeff. Just one other question that comes in. This one is, how does the DCAM framework support AI initiatives in terms of governance, integration, and data quality?
Well, the DCAM includes capability statements that support model testing, approval, release and regular review, model bias, and explainability. Explainability was a term I had never even heard before I studied the DCAM, and it makes perfect sense. You need to be able to explain to people where you got your assumptions from and how you derived your models. From an integration point of view, we want to see alignment with data architecture, that data is sourced from approved authoritative sources, and that data is obfuscated to ensure privacy without affecting its integrity and fitness for use. And of course, excuse me, data quality has its own category in the DCAM. Bad data can be a minor irritant when trying to develop a report, or it can cause colossal business process failures. It can cause an inmate to be incarcerated past his release date, or it can threaten property, life, and limb. So data quality is a huge priority. And all the other capabilities within the DCAM actually feed into data quality in different ways. For example, ensuring that your data requirements are gathered correctly up front is a huge driver of data quality.
Jeff, thank you very much indeed. Marie, thank you very much indeed. To our listeners, we will be posting this recording onto our Santel Consultants YouTube channel. We will also be sending up a follow-up email to our listeners of this recording, and along with the handout survey. And again, for anyone else that's interested, please feel free to reach out to Jeff or Marie or info@santelconsultants.com. And we appreciate your time. And Jeff and Marie, I'll let you guys come on and just say goodbye.
Well, thank you, Robert. Thank you, Jeff. This has been really a fun hour. And I have to say, those workshops are so important. You learn so much about what's upstream from your data and what's downstream. But anyhow, I love conducting them. So thank you.
Well, thank you, and appreciate all those folks that joined us. And thank you once again, Robert and Marie, for inviting me to join your webinar today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Bye.